This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Edmonton Oilers updates here on the channel today. Yes, sir, the Oilers involved in another roster move yet again. And this one we have already talked about as happening. It was planned to either happen today or tomorrow, and I believe it was supposed to have happened earlier today. It was released at 5 o'clock, so we're just a few minutes behind the news. But it was supposed to have happened earlier because apparently the tweet did go out and then was promptly deleted. I'm not sure how that quite works, if there was something to do with deadlines or something like that, and the Oilers had to wait to announce it just to officially get it on the books, or if by tweeting it at 5 o'clock tonight, they've now met the deadline for tomorrow, and this technically counts as a move tomorrow as opposed to today. Again, YouTube does not allow enough time, or I cannot allow enough time to YouTube to figure all that stuff out because, quite frankly, said there's a day job involved, and I don't have time in my evenings to spend every night reading meticulously the whatever manual to the salary cap. That's it, friends. If you're new to the channel, take the next 5-10 minutes. Consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. Love to have you along. It's been a fun start to the season so far. Preseason was insane. Start to the year's been fun. I think we've had just as much fun now in the regular season as the preseason. The Oilers have not given us a lack of stuff to talk about, good, bad, and otherwise. And now we can talk about this, I promise you, right now, to the news. The Oilers have recalled defenseman Markus Niemelainen. Butchering it. Every time I try to think about it, I butcher it. Markus Niemelainen from the Bakersfield Condors and have loaned Brad Malone to Bakersfield. So there's a little, like I said, there's probably some cap implications here that I wasn't quite aware of. But for the Oilers, this was the necessary move finally, because as mentioned last night in the broadcast for the Condors game, is Philip Broberg is dealing with a little bit of a nagging injury, and obviously him and Shore played it out. But now the Oilers, with Shore fully up there, and of course, while he's a cheaper cap hit than Broberg, and Foegele and Yamamoto more than likely ready to go on Tuesday night against the, yes, quote unquote, Buffalo Sabres. You have 12 forwards with Shore, and you need a seventh defenseman, just an extra body. And realistically, this would also allow the Oilers to go 11-7. Brad Malone's optionable back to the Bakersfield Condors. Obviously, he cleared waivers a couple of days ago, so no worry about him getting claimed. He's good for the next 20-ish days still. So there's a lot to like about this move, just simply because, well, Oilers fans are screaming for some kind of change on the back end. And if you're to tell the average Oilers fan who watched at least 2 preseason games, one of which included our man Markus Niemelainen here that just got recalled, what would they tell you? Somebody maybe who doesn't tune into Dolynny TV every day, right? Somebody who just, like I said, watched 1 or 2 games and Markus Niemelainen was at least in 1. They would tell you quite simply, he looks dang good. I mean, he is a defenseman that truly passes all the tests, whether it be the spreadsheet test, whether it be the eye test, whether it be the does he have any impact at all in the coach's eye test, whatever, he passes it. And that is why, of course, now we see him. And this one pains me. My goodness, there are some times I get comments, and I swear they're just meant to play with my brain when it actually happens. Like cosmic kind of stuff where somebody comments, hey, I am telling you right now, this will happen then. Right? Like somebody commented on the Markus Niemelainen video when he got sent down, and for the life of me, I can't find the comment. It has disappeared. But when that video was published, he said, I will tell you right now, he will be recalled after the second game of the season. Here we are. I did not dream this up. I promise you. I combed through the comments pretty well. They come onto my phone every time, and I get to see them for at least 5 seconds before I swipe to the right. I guarantee you, that was a legit comment on Dolynny TV, and that was before the season got underway. That's before everything got settled with the roster, and here we are, 2 games into the season, before Game 3, and Markus Niemelainen has been recalled by the Oilers, and of course Brad Malone back down to the Bakersfield Condors. And you know, sometimes, like I said, those comments just come in and you're like, yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, you could also be wrong. And then it is right. And it's kind of one of those things that suddenly you can't find it. And for the life of me, I can never find those comments when they come in. And here we are in that same exact situation today. Like I said, I promise you I'm not BSing you right now. This is a real thing. This is a legit thing that happened on Dolynny TV that is now happening in front of us here all together today on this day before game tomorrow. Anyway, the other piece of news today, we can talk about that now. I think we can talk about that. Now, we want to talk Markus Niemelainen. I want to throw one more thought at you. I can't wait to see him crush somebody in the game against the Sabres. You know what? That's we've seen the Oilers' defense kind of getting walked around. I'm sorry. That's the one thing I like about this guy. He does not get walked around. He makes you earn it. He punishes you, and that's going to be really fun. We want to talk about adding Chikrin. We want to talk about adding Susie. We want to add anybody else. You know what? First add Markus Niemelainen and see what the difference is. This kid is crushing it. And he will crush some folks tomorrow night in Sabres uniforms. All right, now on to the other news today. So, I guess, part and parcel, when you don't have enough time to dedicate to YouTube like I don't, sometimes you miss what the actual plan is, and you just kind of go out on a limb and say, well, this makes sense. And that's kind of what I was doing with that Stuart Skinner video yesterday, if you saw it, where I said, you know what, he's gone out there and earned it. There's no reason why you don't give Jack Campbell the night off, just to get him calmed down a little bit, back into the psyche that he needs to be in, and just allow Stuart Skinner to go out there and start a game that he's earned. That was my argument. Well, I guess according to Jay Woodcroft, this was kind of going to be how it was going to be anyhow, and Stuart Skinner gets announced as the starter today. Now, again, the reason I'm saying this, and I haven't been able to watch any coach stuff, but I've just kind of had some people message me throughout the day, is just simply put, when it comes down to something like that, is kind of sucks that, yes, okay, I'm going out on a limb, but it also sucks that I couldn't just figure it out for myself and guarantee that kind of deal. But yeah, it's a good thing to see it. And I mean, too, it's nice to see that there was a plan to get Skinner in. And obviously the plan, as I said, I haven't been able to see anything or listen to anything on it. But the reason I know it's part of the plan, and when people text me, it's not something they're throwing me for a loop, is it was announced today. It wasn't announced tomorrow after morning skate, right? This wasn't a game time decision. This was a planned thing. So that's good, because obviously Jay Woodcroft said when we get back into practice, we'll see who starts on Monday or on Tuesday. But they literally finished practice, and the first thing out of his mouth, from what I've heard, was, hey, Stuart Skinner is starting tomorrow. So that's good. And I mean, great on the Oilers to at least have a plan. Like I said in the video, I'd like to see Skinner start 25 games this year. And if the plan is to go 2 Campbell, 1 Skinner, 2 Campbell, 1 Skinner, and somehow it's always 2 out of 3 for Campbell, 1 out of 3 for Skinner, that's a really big victory for the Oilers. Is now you've got a defined starter and backup, but you've got a guy who's going to be able to push Campbell enough that there's, and this is what I was talking to Patrick about a little bit today, is you've got a guy in Skinner who's going to get enough starts that if there is an actual issue down the stretch with Campbell, Skinner's going to have enough under his belt throughout the season early on that he's going to be able to push Campbell onto the bench if need be. Because the Oilers don't exactly have that anywhere else in the organization, right? If, say, Skinner goes down with an injury, and Campbell is faltering, you turn to Calvin Pickard. Now, not to kind of throw Calvin Pickard under the bus here or anything, but goalies don't tend to sign with the Oilers because they're all-star quality. Let's just say that, right? That's not how it generally works. And for Calvin Pickard, the big part here is, yes, he's an organizational number 3, but in that sense, is exactly what I'm saying, is the Oilers have a number 2 that's good enough to push for jobs, but we're not talking about Pickard, who's an organizational number 3 who is going to rise up and be a star in the playoffs and Matt Murray his way to a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins kind of deal. That's not the kind of goaltender at 30 some odd years old Calvin Pickard is, as far as his career is dictated. However, Stuart Skinner in that backup role is enough to push Campbell onto the bench for a stretch of time during this season. So that's the exciting part here. If the Oilers do have that 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3 plan, we could really see things kind of evolve from here if things get worse for Campbell. I don't think things are bad for Campbell right now. Because like you said, I've read the comments. A lot of folks are willing to give Campbell as long of a leash as he needs because there's a lot of other parts of the Oilers games that need to get cleaned up in these first two before you fully shift the blame onto Campbell. That's the nice part here. So now, right, is you've got the added bonus of Stuart Skinner and what he's done this season so far in that one little bit of spell from the last 50 minutes of the Flames game, and this start against the Sabres to look forward to on Tuesday. Folks, I could yammer on all night. Honestly, I've been raring to go. I've been waiting to come home all day because quite frankly, when you're house sitting and you know you're coming home to an empty house, nobody's going to tell you, hey, supper's this time. Hey, you need to come out here and do this, or hey, we're going here, or we got to run over here. Life's on easy street when you're house sitting. So life's good, folks. Enjoy your evening. I believe there will be an NHL 23 Edmonton Oilers franchise mode out later tonight. Probably about 9:30 is when I'll schedule it for. So sit back, enjoy if you want. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.